Alright, there we go. Yeah, not sure what the deal is, but sometimes this program that I'm using here will make my mouse pointer disappear. So back to what I was saying is we're going to be just discussing, we're going to be doing a short one tonight. We're going to just talk about Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen. He's a wonderful British actor, comedian, and nowadays basically a political activist, or better yet, a political puppet. He is a foreign agent working on behalf of a foreign country in order to subvert and modify the society in the West, in particular, the United States of America. And he's on board with, several different organizations, but most notably, Stop Hate for Profit. But what is that? So first off, coming from my perspective, I was a big fan of Borat back in the day. The original Ali G show was hilarious in my opinion. It was great comedy, very believable, pretty apolitical for the most part, but it was really funny. It was well written. It was great. And then the movie came out, and this was years after I'd already been a fan of the actual Ali G show, which was great, and I was super excited. So watched the movie, and I thought it was pretty good. Lots of comedy gold was contained within Borat, but then something has changed. Something has changed, which often happens with some of our various friends here that are aligned with these various organizations that are looking to subvert society. Well, he's first off, he's streaming specifically with Amazon, and which is funny because Amazon just so happens to be all tied up with various intelligence agencies, specifically the CIA, multiple government contracts with the CIA. And what has Borat been doing? What has Borat been doing? Borat has been campaigning to stifle freedom of speech. And, of course, it's always couched in the same terminology. Democracy, hate speech, all of the different lies that they use to subvert freedom of speech, freedom of expression, constitutionally protected rights. It's always the same story over and over again. So yeah, this article here in Time magazine. We must save democracy from conspiracies. Oh, right, right. So that's the new thing, right? Which is what they always do. They will insert something that everybody can agree with, right? Nobody really cares for hateful speech, right? That's kind of icky. Nobody really cares for it, right? Nobody's a big fan of people saying hateful, racist things, but unfortunately, it's kind of a byproduct of a free society, right? Is that people are allowed to speak their mind as they please. But then, of course, we hear the argument that, well, social media, these are private platforms, and they can do what they want. So, you know what? Everybody just kind of went along with them, censoring hate speech, right? But that's not where it stops, right? Hate speech is just the foot in the door, right? The foot in the door to get themselves in to be able to do what they really want to do, which is to completely control the agenda, completely control the narrative, and control, ultimately, the minds of the general population. And the way that they're doing it is they're tying hate speech with conspiracies with violence, and damaging democracy, right? So I'm not going to go all throughout this, right? It's the same propaganda, right? I would guarantee you that this man did not write this article. This was written by, most likely, Jonathan Greenblatt over at the ADL. But we're going to get to that in just a minute here. So he's been advocating for for social media giants, Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, to censor what they deem to be called conspiracy theories, right? Which it's always funny because the mainstream media constantly pushes lies on a regular basis, every single day. They're anonymous sources. There's this, there's that. They've been harping about the Russia thing forever, and I'm not not a Mr. Trump guy or anything. It's just what they do. They lie all the time. They push all of the wars that are pushed out by the military-industrial complex. They are foisted into the public by the liars in the mainstream media. They support all of the wars. They propagandize for the system, for the state, and everybody goes along with it. But those conspiracies, those are the good conspiracies. Okay, you're only allowed to believe conspiracy theories if they're pushed out by the right people. Now, if you're the wrong people, and the wrong people would be anybody questioning the narrative, anyone questioning the approved mainstream agenda that is pushed via the government, the billionaire elites, the intelligence agencies, and the various social engineering NGO and civil society organizations that are out there looking to bend the will of the people. And, they've been largely successful. That's why we see so many people on social media like, yeah, we need to get rid of hate speech online. But then that's what they do. They expand the definition of hate speech so that, it's whatever they deem it to be, right? So, it used to be a pretty normal thing for people to say, yeah, I'm kind of okay with securing the borders. Now, that's considered hate speech, right? It's hate speech to not believe that we should, have open, unfettered access to, not just the border in our country physically, but to the healthcare system, to everything else that, is afforded to the citizens that are forced to pay taxes. So everybody should get it, right? We should just give everybody in the entire universe free healthcare that we get to pay for. So anyways, this article, just a slew of nonsense, bogus propaganda. So feel free to listen to it. It's just a bunch of propaganda lies. But then check this out. Here's Sacha Baron Cohen. Facebook. I criticized you for not blocking false info about COVID. Now your AI is blocking my article because the photo has false info about COVID. Instead of just AI, use the money you've made during COVID to hire more humans to moderate and fact check. So, as usual, and the hilarity and the irony of his tweet here will be completely lost on him and completely lost on everybody that is supporting the destruction of freedom in the West, right? Totally lost on them. But it's funny because this is what happens. If you're going to advocate for the censorship of some, eventually it is going to spread out to everyone. And that's where we're sitting at today, right? It is more and more acceptable, and it is being employed more and more by all of the big tech organizations, newspapers, everybody. Censorship is just run of the mill now, right? Now it's not controversial to censor. It's just that it's controversial to not censor enough, right? That's what they want. More censorship. You guys need to check every single post. You need to make sure that everybody's opinion is in line with the agenda. And you know what? If not, well, you're a Nazi and you're filled with hate. That's what it is. So, I thought this was funny, right? I thought this was funny. So, if you're unaware, Borat isn't just some concerned, not citizen of the United States of America. Borat is a foreign agent working with the Anti-Defamation League. And he gave the keynote in 2019, working with the ADL. We'll just listen to a little bit of it here, just a couple minutes. I know it's repulsive, and this is a repulsive human being, but we'll listen to a couple. Wait, you know what? To get back to it, I forgot to mention what I thought about the new movie. It was propaganda. It was disgusting, and it shows the mentality of people of his persuasion. They hate America. They target just regular old, nice, decent, blue-collar Americans to try to make them look like they're racist Nazis. And it's gross, right? It's gross. Decent, hardworking people that are just trying to make a living, that's who they target. And then, of course, they target politicians, which, fine, target politicians. Target all of them. They're all corrupt. They're all evil. But it's not done in good faith, right? It's only targeting one side of the fake left-right paradigm, right? Now, if he was going after all of them, okay, great. Do it. They all need to be taken down a peg. But, I'm not going to support something that is only focusing on one side of the equation, right? Because that's what it is. He is a political activist for the Anti-Defamation League, the government of Israel, his people, which are not our people, his organizations, and he's using his stature as a celebrity in order to push censorship upon all of us to further the agenda of his organizations and his country.
I have to confess, it is terrifying. I realize that my presence here may also be unexpected for another reason. At times, some critics have said my comedy risks reinforcing old stereotypes. The truth is, I've been passionate about challenging bigotry and intolerance throughout my life. As a teenager in England, I marched against the fascist National Front and to abolish apartheid. As an undergraduate, I traveled around America and wrote my thesis.
He went to abolish apartheid, but he is working for the state of Israel, which is, we don't need to get into what their role in apartheid is, right? So,
about the civil rights movement with the help of the archives of the ADL. And as a comedian, I've tried to use my characters to get people to let down their guard and reveal what they actually believe, including their own prejudice. Now, I'm not going to claim that everything I've done has been for a higher purpose. Yes, some of my comedy, okay, probably half my comedy has been absolutely juvenile. And the other half completely puerile. But I admit there was nothing particularly enlightening about me as Borat from Kazakhstan, the first fake news journalist, running through a conference of mortgage brokers while I was completely naked. But when Borat was able...
So anyways, I can't keep watching it, honestly, so I'll put a link in the description so that you guys can get into it, and if you want to watch the entire thing, you can absolutely feel free to. But anyways, he's working for the ADL, and this organization is stophateforprofit.org. And of course, they try to make themselves look like it's just a coalition of different people, and really all it is it's the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, Color of Change, this is a DNC organization. All of these groups right here are all tied in with one faction of the fake left-right paradigm. This organization here is Sleeping Giants, which is not really an organization, it's just a Twitter account, and all they do is they use their Twitter account as a targeted harassment front to try to get people fired for perceived bigotry and racism, try to get people attacked in the streets. You know, they're just basically Antifa for the internet. It's just disgusting, right? So they try to get people fired from their jobs, get people deplatformed. That's all these people do. They go against their political enemies, right? Which is everybody, right? So like, yeah, well, Alex Jones here. Alex Jones, you know, not a fan. You know, obviously he's an asset, but at the end of the day, is he really this big racist, right? No, of course not. It's just so stupid but that's how they do it, right? They put everything under this blanket of hate speech, but then gives them the justification to lobby the tech companies to then censor people, and that's what they've done. They censor everybody and say that their speech is dangerous, and that's what these organizations are doing. They did a boycott of Facebook ads and all of these things, right? It's basically just political activist organizations trying to shut down speech of the average person. These people think that you are too stupid to be able to discern fact from fiction yourself. They think that you are too stupid to be able to look at information and make decisions on your own. They feel that they should be the ones to make the decision as to what is appropriate content for you to be able to consume and view online and elsewhere. So if you're not aware, the Anti-Defamation League is a disgusting fraudulent organization. They are basically a foreign agency that works on behalf of the state of Israel to further the agenda of the Zionists, and they have their Center for Technology and Society right in the heart of Silicon Valley. And they have all their AI algorithms and their little computer programs that they use to help force the social media companies to censor as they see fit. These people have been their rhetoric has resulted in actual real world violence that has gotten people that are, you know, maybe simply pro-life people or anti-immigration people to actually befall physical harm, which is what these people want, right? They hate America, they hate Americans, they hate white people, they hate black people, they hate everybody. They hate everybody except for their people. Everybody else is just a tool in their little game, but they are filled with absolute hate. And their goal and their job is to subvert Western society. It has been since the onset, and that's what they're moving towards now. And they will use all of their political power, all of their connections in order to do that. And a large part of why we're seeing censorship right now is coming directly from this organization. The ADL applauds Google and YouTube in expanding initiative to fight online hate. The Anti-Defamation League today welcomed progress announced by Google and YouTube in blocking and removing extremist content on YouTube. Google recently started using machine learning technology, which has allowed it to remove more than 75% of violent extremism videos during the past month. ADL is a select contributing member of YouTube's Trusted Flagger program, created in 2012 to enable organizations to notify the platform of content that violates their community guidelines. Google is a long-standing member of ADL's Silicon Valley Anti-Cyber Hate Working Group. So the ADL, which again is a political activist organization, is one of YouTube's trusted flaggers. ADL works with Borat in order to further their censorship agenda. Now, if you're not aware, the ADL has been using their members as spies. I'm not going to go completely through this article here, but they are agents. They are agents working on behalf of the state of Israel, and they use their power not just here in the United States, but all over the world. So I would suggest that you read this. It's counterpunch.org, the ADL spying case. And then, if you were unaware, the foundation of ADL, the creation of the ADL, was created in order to protect a murdering pedophile. Many of you know the B'nai B'rith organization gave birth to the ADL while defending its Atlanta chapter president, Leon Frank, who raped and murdered a 13-year-old girl who he was also employing, along with many other teens, against child labor laws. Leon Frank ran a pencil factory sweatshop and often flirted with his illegal underage employees. The ADL was formed to defend him when he murdered and raped Mary Fagan. The details were disgusting. Her underwear was ripped and bloody, and she was strangled to death with a wire. Her head had also been pummeled with a pipe. She went to get her paycheck of a meager $1.20 and never returned home. She was raped and murdered, and then her body was dragged to the basement. Police found strands of her hair and blood on the floor above, right across from Frank's office. Frank nervously revealed the victim's name in front of police before they had given him any such details. The ADL was going to get him released based purely on the fact that he was Jewish and a high-profile crime made Jews look bad. So, it goes deeper. I'll put a link to this in the description as well. But this was what the organization, a Zionist activist organization, was created to do. Was created to defend a pedophile murderer. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Sounds like a great organization. Anyways, the ADL is filled rife with all kinds of other scandals, right? And then one of their sister organizations is the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. This organization is also another trusted flagger on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and the like, right? So they have all of these activist organizations that masquerade as being against hate, when what they're really doing is they are being pro-hate and anti-freedom, anti-democracy. All the things that they claim to be, they are the opposite of, literally the opposite of. So this organization here, the Southern Poverty Law Center, is filled with just as much scandal as the ADL. Their founder has been accused of sexual assault, sexual harassment, racism on their own front, just disgusting organizations. And these are the groups that Sacha Baron Cohen and Stop Hate for Profit, they all work with. So, the average person is going to look at what Borat is doing, like, yeah, you know what, you're right, Borat, I also don't like hatred. I don't like hate speech. But really, what it is these people are hateful themselves. They hate America. And that is one of the things that you can draw from Borat 2. You see the exact people that he is targeting. He's targeting regular, everyday Americans that don't have a hateful bone in their body, and does everything that he can to make them look hateful. And it's funny, too. The only, decent people in the film, in the movie is a black lady who was very nice. You know, she put up with their retarded antics, but she was a super nice lady, and he presented her in a wonderful light, right? And then an old Jewish woman. So, you know, oh, and which the Jewish woman that was on camera in the movie is now suing Borat. So, you know, go figure. So they have the two nice people. The only two nice people that were presented in even a neutral light was a black woman and a Jewish woman. So go figure. The rest of them, you know, he did everything he could to try to make them look like bigots and sexist and everything else, right? It was just disgusting. And I would not recommend watching the movie at all. I only did so that I'd be able to talk about it because of the whole Giuliani thing that was in it, which was total nonsense. Again, total nonsense. So it's filled with lies. It's propaganda. Super gross. And you know what? It's disappointing because, you know, back before he started flipping his script into being this political guy, it was funny. You know, it was. And now I could barely make it through the movie. It was just so gross. And there's this dance scene. I'm not going to tell the details, but it's repulsive. The people that they're going after with this dance scene are just like super nice people, minding their own business, not harming anybody. But of course, you know, it's mostly white people, so they need to do everything they can to make these mostly white people look like vile people, and that's what they do. It's out to paint America as evil and bigoted, and it's just gross. And they also had that show, I think it's called This Is America. I watched that begrudgingly as well, and it was the same thing, just trying to make everybody look like they're just a bunch of racists, right? And that's what it is. Everybody's racist, everybody's hateful, and that gives them the right to run around and take down whatever content they don't like. So, if you're watching this and you have been censored online, you sure as hell know that the chances are likely that the ADL or the Southern Poverty Law Center was behind it. So you can thank Borat, the new small hat mascot for the ADL, for his participation in saving democracy, right? So that's all I've got for Borat. We've got one more article that I wanted to go over, just real quick, because, you know, it's relevant. Fauci suggested a face mask mandate and warned that the general public might not get a C-19 vaccine until mid-2021. Anthony Fauci has suggested that face covering should be made mandatory in the U.S. Well, if people are not wearing masks, then maybe we should be mandating it, Fauci told CNN on Friday. He didn't say whether it would be national or state level. Some states already have mask mandates in place, and some private venues in states without the mandate enforce mask-wearing rules themselves. So, you know, just more propaganda. More propaganda from the guy that's been caught numerous times taking his off as soon as the camera turns off. He's been caught not wearing it in public settings, just like all the politicians, right? It's do as I say, not as I do, and we're all just supposed to go along with it and accept it. And you know what? Who cares if it's unconstitutional? Who cares if it's violating our constitutionally protected rights? Who cares about all that? As long as it's making the top doc feel safe and happy, and gives him his power trip for the day, he's more than willing to do it. They're more than willing to send men with guns to enforce your attire in order to make people stay safe. So, anywho, with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in today. I am going to be uploading all of my live streams. So this is what I'm going to be doing, is uploading my live streams to BitChute and Library so that you don't miss them there. I'm still banned on YouTube, but I am uploading to a second YouTube channel while my 2-week ban is going. So feel free to subscribe there. If you'd like to support my efforts here, you can feel free to download the Brave browser below. You can make a PayPal donation, or you can even set up a recurring donation to my subscribe star. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow for another video. Take care.